Howdy. I'm, as always, Robert McKay. This is, as always, Whiskey for Beginners. You, as always, saw that on the title cards. There may be some of my early reviews that don't have those title cards. I don't know. There were some of the Whisky Basics videos that didn't, but since I accidentally deleted all those and I'm rebuilding the whole playlist, they're all going to have them. I propose to drink a little whiskey. Let me see if you can hear that. I can't get it to where you can see it good, but I'm not a big quart pop aficionado. I mean, it's not that it sounds bad, mind, but it's just not a thing I focus on. This is Bluff Springs, how do they put it? Select Barrel Reserve. Now, if I'm understanding that label correctly, I could use this bottle for this video, but I am not certain that I am understanding the label correctly. I am certain that I like this whiskey. It was $32.99 at Total Wine. Got it on the 15th of October, so a couple of 3 weeks ago. I went there to get a bottle of Bluff Springs, just a regular ordinary bourbon, which I think it's in the same general profile as Buffalo Trace, but I think considerably better. And I saw this and I said, I like Bluff Springs, let me try this, and this is good. It has a distinctive peanut shell note on the nose, and though I've not been able to find any information on it, it's a Total Wine store brand, and no doubt there are non-disclosure agreements saying, you can sell it with your brand on it, don't tell them where you got it. I suspect it is from Heaven Hill, which is the largest family-owned distillery in the United States. It's in the hands of the Shapira family, who founded it right after Prohibition ended. And in, I believe it was 1993, they had a horrendous fire. Several of their barrel houses burnt down. The distillery burnt down. I have heard that they lost the yeast and had to replace it with yeast from Jim Beam. I've heard that they saved the yeast. People have told me that Heaven Hill whiskey from before the fire tasted different from that they made after the fire. Yeast being different would explain that. I don't know. But it was a horrendous fire. Those warehouses are 6-7 stories high, 60-70 feet tall. And the flames were shooting above the roof 2 or 3 times that high. However, I'm not going to use this bottle except to sip on. And the subject of this is, what is single barrel whiskey? Now maybe you can see why I think this might have worked. Select barrel. Kind of makes you think single barrel, especially when you know what it means. But what does it mean? Well, I have here a bottle of, let's block out my face. You might like it that way, actually. This is a bottle of Four Roses single barrel. It for those who may find this interesting, it is the OBSF recipe. Four Roses has 10 recipes. It is 2 mash bills and 5 yeast strains, or 5 mash bills and 2 yeast strains. I can never remember. There are some people who can tell you what every single letter of this means. I can't even begin to. But it has a strip down here. It's from warehouse number NS, November Sierra, barrel number 3-5P, Papa. Now what that means is that every single drop of whiskey in this bottle came from just one barrel. Single barrel means single barrel. Now, depending on how much of the whiskey has evaporated as what they call the angel share during its time in the warehouse, you're not going to get a huge number of bottles from one barrel. You fill the barrel, we'll just say 50 gallons will stay in there. That's about the capacity of the standard barrel, but I don't know exactly the amount that goes in there. We'll say 50, a round number. Well, if over the time it's aging, 1/3 of that evaporates, which is not at all an exaggeration. Well, 50 divided by 3 will go into 5, 1, that leaves 20, 3 will go into 26 times. So I could do the math better on a calculator, but let's just say 16 gallons have evaporated. 50 minus 10 is 40, minus 6 is 34 gallons is all that's left. Well, 30 gallons divided by 5, or times 5, is 150 bottles. 50 times 5, a 750 milliliter is roughly equivalent to a fifth of whiskey, a fifth of a gallon. 50 times 5 would be 250 bottles. But with the angel share, you're getting 150 bottles. You've lost half the bottles already. And if a barrel has leaked at some point, it'll be less. If it was up at the top of the barrel house, more has evaporated. They periodically sample things. If they're repeatedly sampling it because they think it's about to be ready, that doesn't draw off much, but it draws off some. And so you are not going to get hundreds and thousands of bottles of whiskey out of one barrel. It'll be, say, somewhere between 100 and 200. Each barrel will vary. It will also vary in taste. No two barrels are exactly alike. Even if all the staves available to the cooper in raising barrels come from the same 5 trees. And all day he's working with staves that came from those 5 trees and only those 5 trees. Every single barrel will have a different proportion of each tree in it. Staves from different parts of the tree will be different. If there are anomalies of some sort in the chemical composition of the wood, you might have 4 staves which have a little bit different chemical makeup than the whole rest of the staves from that one tree. And so you erect barrel after barrel after barrel after barrel, I said erect, They call it raising a barrel, which erect means raise. You raise barrel after barrel after barrel all day. You're using staves from the same 5 trees, but not one single barrel will have the identical chemical composition of any other barrel in that bunch. So from the beginning, each barrel has a different, even if it's only a slight difference, in the wood. Then each barrel is going to be in a different place in the warehouse. Maker's Mark rotates their barrels, an extremely labor-intensive process. And as far as I know, they're the only major distillery which does that. Precisely because it's so labor-intensive, which means each barrel is costing more to produce, which means each bottle is going to cost more. That's something people don't realize. You raise wages, you raise the cost of what the people getting those wages costs. If you have a widget that costs $1 to make when the people who make it are making this much, you raise the wage, you automatically raise the cost of the widget. Either that or the company goes broke, and then all those people are out of jobs, and you don't get your widgets. Beware of raising the minimum wage. You are probably going to price the employees out of a job and out of the ability to afford what they themselves are producing. We need to let companies pay people what they're worth. And not everybody is worth $15 an hour. There's a kid who graduated from high school yesterday and can barely sign his name worth the same as somebody who's been working there 20 years and is an expert at his job? Is a burger flipper worth the same on his first day as somebody who's been there 2 years and can do every station in that joint? Of course not. Anybody with a brain knows that. Minimum wages are a pain in the butt. They raise the cost of what you buy, and they drive businesses out of business. They just don't make sense. Howsomever, that was a rabbit that grew out of Maker's Mark rotating the barrels. So you have all these variations, and that's why people don't like blends. And I confess, I have a prejudice against blended whiskey. So far, I've not tasted much of it, and all of that has been Scottish or Irish. I want straight whiskey. The thing is, even a straight whiskey, and I have a video, by the way, explaining what that term means. Everybody else can put the little box on the screen. I can't do that. And I always forget. If I were to promise you to put a link to it, in the description, I guarantee you I'd forget by the time I got it uploaded. But you can go back, you can hunt for it and find it. But even a straight whiskey is a blend. You want a particular flavor profile for, say, Bluff Springs, a regular Bluff Springs. It has a particular sweet, fruity flavor profile. Well, you can't just take random barrels and dump them and batch them and get that. You have to pick your barrels. You have to find barrels that are going to work together to produce that profile, and each batch you make, you have to test the barrels and taste them to find which ones go into the batch to produce the profile. And even if you were grabbing 100 barrels at random, they're still all going into the same tank, which then leads to the bottling line. It's all blended whiskey. So that prejudice I have, and that many people have, well, some people have, against blended whiskey is not rational. Now, the first step in defeating a prejudice is to understand that it's not rational, and one of these days I'll decide, okay, I have plenty of stuff I like, I've tried what I want to, let me check out this blended whiskey. I'm not a fan of TX bourbon. It tastes too much like Kentucky, although it comes from Fort Worth in Texas. But they also have what they call a blended whiskey. Maybe one of these days I'll try that. I don't know. Tomorrow, I say tomorrow, it's official. Technically it's today because it's 1:41 in the morning here in Albuquerque. I'm going to run over to Total Wine and pick up a bottle of Iron Root Harbinger from a distillery in Texas. I want to try every single Texas whiskey I can. I'm a Texan, what can I say? It ain't prejudice to love Texas over everybody else. That's just knowing the facts, right? Don't all you other people look down on Texas neither. Because it don't bother us. We know we're better than everybody else, but we're humble about it. Everything's bigger in Texas, including our humility. So every bottle you get of straight whiskey is a blend. They batched barrels together to get that profile. A single barrel is exactly that, one barrel. And there are whole lines of single barrels. And so if you buy one bottle of, let me think of something. My brain's coming up blank here. Holy mercy, how can I be so dense? I'll make something up. We'll call it breadbasket bourbon. I can't believe I can't think of a single flippin' actual one, but my mind just went absolutely blank on that. So we invent breadbasket bourbon. They have a single barrel program. They dump a barrel, they bottle it, they ship it. They dump a barrel, they bottle it, they ship it. They dump a barrel, they bottle it, they ship it. We have 3 different barrels. They're all going to taste similar because even in a single barrel program, they're going to be working toward a particular profile. They're going to want all the single barrel bottles they ship to taste similar, not wildly different. And they all want them to taste good, of course. But if you have one of each, and a single barrel will typically tell you what barrel it's from, what warehouse it's from. And you can even look at the proof. And because each barrel, well, I take that back. Not all single barrels are the same, are also barrel proof. So, discount that. Here's a real one. Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. That is a single barrel. It's also barrel proof, which means that when they dump it, whatever it comes out of the barrel, that's the proof at which they bottle it. I've had Jack Daniel's single barrel proof at 132 point something. My current one is, oh shoot, I can't remember, 124, 128, something like that. But if they do bottle a single barrel at barrel proof, then yes, you can check the proof. Okay, that's one proof, that's another proof, that's 2 different barrels. But you'll generally have to look at the warehouse and or the barrel number. So you get all 3 of the breadbasket bourbons, single barrels. They'll taste similar, but this one will have a little more spice. This one will be a little more fruity. And this one over here will be more grain forward. So, I couldn't think of a single barrel program in real life. You are looking at a dense person. You're looking at a dunce. You're looking at a dimwit. You're looking at somebody who needs a brain cell. Single barrel. I'm looking right, it's right here, and I can't think of it. So, you can buy 4 bottles of OBSF single barrel. And they can come from 4 different barrels, and they'll all taste slightly different. If, as I suspect, this is also a single barrel, the same is true there. You can buy 4 different bottles, get 4 different, slightly different profiles. Because it's all, they take 1 barrel and bottle it, take another barrel and bottle it, and so on. That's what a single barrel is. Now, single barrels can be delightful. Some of them are so glorious because they're blending to a profile for the standard bottling. It smooths out some of that glorious stuff. You don't get the depths of awful, but you don't get the heights of wonderful either in your standard straight whiskey. With a single barrel, yeah, you can run into something pretty awful, but you can run into something mighty glorious. Okay, this is taking longer than I expected, longer than I intended. I thought it would be 13, 14, 15 minutes. It just turned 22. It's legal. It can buy liquor. So I am going to say to y'all, cheers.